So while I'm creating all this series of videos about an opening that is the Leningrad Dutch, I also like to show you for variety some games from different books. In generally, I like to review books that I believe are interesting. This concept of this book came about I think in 1998, when the main author that I thought it was Graham Burgess and maybe John Nunn came with a list of games, the best games of all time. Now, in this book you will find obviously the Immortal by Anderssen, the Evergreen, always by Anderssen. You will find Bayern Fischer, that is the game of a century. You will find Rotlevi Rubinstein. These are typical games everybody should know, and I will not show you those because you have it ad nauseam. Practically every grandmaster, everybody has made a video with those games. At the same time, to give you an idea of the content of this great book, that by the way I bought for like $15, I will cover about 20% of the content, so I hope to be able to give you a random sample of the games inside, which might interest you guys to get the book by yourself and play these games over the board, okay? I will start with game number 4, that is between Johann Zukertort and Joseph Blackburn, London 1883. The opening is in English. The good thing of the book is that there is, and maybe here you can see it, an introduction about the players and the game. At the end of each game you have lessons from this game, so what you actually learn. This is also what you should do in your own games. When you analyze them, at the end of them you should have 3 lessons. Now, about this game, a deceptively quiet opening and the strategic middle game give us no warning of the fireworks that eventually decide this battle. So let's see how it started. It started with c4, e6, e3. Now, who is Johann Zukertort, white player? Johann Zukertort is the one that played the World Championship number 1, the 4th championship, World Championship, was played between Zukertort and Steinitz. If Zukertort had won, we would have a different name as a 4th world champion. Okay? Johann Zukertort, 1842-1888, was a Polish-born player who, for many years, was considered second only to Wilhelm Steinitz in the chess world. In 1861, he enrolled in the Faculty of Medicine at Breslau University. Rather than attending lecture, however, Zukertort spent most of his waking hours playing chess, including many friendly games against Anderssen, and he was finally struck from the university register due to non-attendance. Zukertort gradually built up his reputation as a chess player, and this was enhanced when a match of endgames ended in 5-2 victory over to Anderssen in 1871. Anderssen also was a very strong player, right? So he spent the rest of his life in London from 1872 as a professional player. So imagine that in 1872 one could live a life of professional player in chess in London. Okay, and in 1886 in New Orleans it was played the 4th official World Championship match that Steinitz won with a score of +10 equal 5 -5. And the rest of the presentation is about Joseph Blackburn. So as you can see, it's a book that is and must have. Why? Because it teaches you about history, so about these players, and about a little of the context, historical context, right? So let's see, after e3, knight f6, knight f3, b6, bishop e2, bishop b7, castle, d5, d4, bishop d6, knight c3, castle, b3. Here I think it could be a kind of call at Zukertort at this point. Knight b7 and bishop b2. Now it says here that Zukertort plays the early part of the game in a very innocuous way indeed, allowing black to reach a comfortable position with no effort at all. Later on, Richard Reti, see game 22, was to develop a more potent, hypermodern method of development against one e6, okay, that he played, involving a fianchetto of the king bishop. At this particular moment, however, the theory of flank openings had not really developed at all. So interesting that, right? So in this position, after bishop b2, the authors put a diagram. And here, if there is a diagram, it means that you need to think for black what you would do, right? What is, how would you continue? No? Here it says, after some effective opening play, black now starts to drift. There are two basic pawn breaks for black in this position, namely c7, c5 and e6, e5. So we come to understand that in a position like this, pawn breaks are important, right, to consider. Both advances will lead to pawn exchanges and thus an opening of a position. So if you play c5 or e5, the exchange will create an opening in the position. With what did black play? He played queen e7. With this move, he connects the rooks, okay, and keeps his options open, not letting white know which of the two pawns he wants to advance, okay. However, and this is, you see, it's the typical modern thinking, no? And this is why this book is really good, because here it can show you what happened in the game. Queen e7, great, but this was 1883. Now we are in 2024, and modern grandmaster immediately would tell you, no, this is not the right move. But why? Am I losing something? No, it's not that you are losing a piece, it's that you are losing the bishop pair, and you don't want to do that, because grandmasters today value this bishop pair. They value the bishop pair also because they have played endless games probably against engines. Engines really kill you when just they are able to keep the bishop pair. So in this position, what a grandmaster of 2024 or what a club player of 2024 should play, he should play a6. And you say, why a6? It seems a waste of a tempo, right? Well, the position is not open, but what you want to avoid is this and losing this. You don't want to lose this because you lose the bishop pair, right? So that's why this is the move to play. Absurd, you might say, because they told you don't move the pawns, connect the rooks, but it's more important to preserve the bishop pair. Preserve it, okay? So that's what you should know. Black played this, and guess what? White, that was Zukertort, because black was Blackburn, played knight b5. So also Zukertort might have understood the importance of the bishop pair. Knight e4, knight takes d6, c takes d6, knight d2, because he wants to eliminate this outpost, knight d f6, he doesn't want to lose it, but this is the question that you will have in your own games. The problem is that once you play knight d2, this move becomes possible, and that's the real problem, right? After knight takes d2, queen takes d2, and here there is another diagram, right? So here you have another diagram, which means you need to know what black would play in this moment. Okay, here it says, at the moment the position remains reasonably close, but without being really blocked up. In effect, it has the potential to become open, and it is this situation which the bishops are waiting for. With his next move, Blackburn allows just one open file, but in doing so, he accepts a lifeless position. So, what did Blackburn play? Blackburn played d takes c4. What he should have played? Well, here it's obviously a matter of taste, but the idea here is that you want to play this. Okay, because this move will actually give you some counterplay, while d takes c4 is not going to give you anything. So this is also an idea that you should have. You want in the opening to fight, to control the center. This move does that. This move releases the tension. Not good. Okay, not good. Now, I could show you the analysis of the offers, but honestly it doesn't really matter. This is, to me, it's more important that one understand the concept, that this is the move to play, and it's a great move e5 compared to the one played in the game, that was d takes c4. Bishop takes c4, d5, and this poor bishop, I don't know what he's doing. Bishop d3, rook f c8, and rook e e1. Rook e e1 is good. Why it's good? Because in reality black cannot enter the enemy territory on the c file. So this rook f8 is kind of useless, okay? While the real move, rook e e1, is a move that gives counterplay to white, because then he will push this pawn. So that's already what this move is telling you, right? That you want to push. Not only that you want to push, but he's fighting again for the center. For the center. So that's why this game is important for us. By the way, the paper of this book is kind of a newspaper paper. So some people might not like it because it's too thin and so on and so forth. Honestly, I just want to enjoy the book, because I know that this team of authors that are Wesley So, Michael Adams, Graham Burgess, John Noon and John Ames are all professional chess players. 3 of them really involved in chess publications from a long time. So clearly this book is something I want to watch the games, I want to share them with you, and I want you to read all the other games, because that will also give you an appreciation for chess. Okay, and as you can see, it will also let you grow the understanding of chess over different centuries, because We are in 1883 now, but the last games of the book I think are from 2000 and let's see, probably 2015, 2016, let's see, okay? I will tell you right away. So last game of the book is 2019, 2020. Now, as you can see, it's more than 100 years, 140 years of games. And so that's why it's important to watch them. Here it says, it is a deep move like this which often separates good players, because he played rook e1, from great players. Many players would have been very tempted to oppose the only open file with rook c1. So rook c1, why did I tell you it wasn't the move to play? Because in reality you are controlling every single square where the enemy rook can enter. So why would you waste a rook, would you exchange a rook and make your game more drawish? Because the rooks are used to attack, right? So you need to open the game in a place where you will be able to attack. And that's why rook e1 is a great move, because this rook is useless on this file, and this rook on this file is clearly giving trouble. Okay. Here obviously there is more comment. I don't know if to read it to you because we are already at 16 minutes and probably you are bored to death and you want to just watch the game. Rook c7, e4, rook c8 is trying to double up on a place that has no future. This has no future. e5, knight e8. What do you think he's gonna play now? Because again, now this pawn structure, do you know what it became? Because you need also to understand pawn structures. These pawn structures now, it's a French advance. This is a French advance. So e4, e6, d4, d5, e5, c5. So that's a French advance, right? And so immediately, if you know about pawn structures, that's why I tried to show you some games from this book, because it's understanding pawn playing chess, it's about pawn structures. But I also have another book only about pawn structures that I made some videos, so I hope you will watch it. But pawn structures will immediately give you the next move without even the need to think. No? So the next move is f4, because you understand, track, you open the thing, you can attack now with f4 and then you can play f5. It's gonna be a mess. Already now you can say that white is better. Already now. But you wouldn't understand this comment if you don't understand pawn structures and you don't understand rook lifts. So that's why you need to watch games like this one. g6, and guess what? I never watched this game. I already predicted you what was gonna happen. Rook e3. Okay? And now it says, we now begin to see for sure that black's counterplay along the c file is proving to be more apparent than real. Yeah, it's not real at all, because he cannot enter, he cannot put it here without losing it, he cannot put it here. So why do you have two rooks on a file that you cannot use? Okay? And meanwhile, white's attack on the king side, which is this side, builds up at his leisure behind the impressive pawn center. And the next stage of a plan will involve forcing the f4, f5 breakthrough with moves like what? With moves like g4, right? And then you can break through. Rather than waiting to be squashed without a context, with his next move, Blackburn understandably tries to fight back. However, by doing so, he stumbles into a long fourth line, ending in a brilliant win for white. Okay, so he plays f5. Sorry. f5. I was distracted. So black played f5, and now obviously this loses, no? Also, maybe there are no real alternatives, because it seems the alternative was knight g7. I don't think it works, obviously, but you can see the analysis in the book. Here he played f5. Obviously, next move is e takes f6 en passant. This is the famous en passant. Knight takes f6. Here there is another diagram, and now you can decide what you want to play for white. Just take a few minutes, pause the video, and try to guess what you would play for white. Right away you can play this. Why? Because if he takes g takes f5, you can play bishop takes f5, and he cannot take back because the rook will take the queen e7. So you cannot play this, right? G takes f5. What can you play? Knight e4. That was what was played in the game. Bishop takes e4 immediately. D takes e4. Remember that this is protected by that, but now it's your turn again, white, and what do? You take on g6. Why on g6? Because you are destroying the enemy castle. Once you destroy the enemy castle, you can clearly attack. But now, what did black do? He thought that he finally could enter the 7th rank, and he played rook c2. So this is the 2nd rank, this is the 7th. In generally, from Nimzowitsch, that is a player later than this game, quite later, at least 60 years later, he wrote a book called My System, in which he obviously taught you about the positional advantages, what was important. One of them was the rook in the 7th or 2nd rank. Okay, here it says black bases all of his hopes on this move, which does seem to give him a lot more counterplay than he perhaps deserved. In any case, the alternative were h takes g6, which loses immediately. And you say, what? Show me, how do you lose immediately? So, h takes g6, we have then the move rook g3, attacking here, right? And now we have different possibilities. There is queen e8, there is king h7, there is queen h7, or queen g7. So imagine how much work the authors of the book have done. Now I will show you one line, that is the one with the queen e8, and of course when you will buy the book you will be able to see all the other analysis. I hope you will enjoy them. Queen h6, rook h7, rook takes g6, king h8, d5, check, d5, check, e5, bishop takes e5, boom, amazing, right? Queen takes e5, of course. Oops, what do you do? What do you do, dear friend? Rook takes f8, yes, great, but guess what? Rook takes f8, and this is checkmate, and that's why you watch this channel, because I'm Mr. Checkmate and I show you checkmates from over 130 years ago. Okay, of course you can watch all the other analysis. Now let me return back to the position. Okay, So in this position, black played rook c2, right? And we saw that in reality, also if it took h takes g6, he would lose right away. So how do you actually continue here? Obviously it's kind of forced, because in any case, why not to take? You're not losing the queen, right? After it takes, black obviously doesn't take back, because he would just activate the enemy rook. So he tries to go behind the pawn and hide behind the pawn. The problem obviously is that also when you hide behind, the pawn is controlling the square, so it's something that is gonna happen that you don't like, and especially when there is a bishop on this diagonal. In fact, he plays d5. Obviously, black has only one way to block it, and it's e5 without losing big material, right? So suddenly it seems as if black has dealt with the threats and white is left facing the loss of a piece. White could play this, but queen g5 solved the problem. So if you are white in this position, okay, you are white, what do you play? Try to pause the video and decide what you would play for white. Please, it's very, very important, okay? Okay, white had an amazing idea, which is queen b4. You say, why is this an amazing idea? Well, I think you can see it immediately, right? So, queen takes b4, bishop takes e5, right? King takes h7, rook h3. And then if he goes to g6, you can continue with rook g3, check. Let's see. I think we need to see it so you can really understand the problem. So this move, queen b4, it's a kind of removal of a defender. The defender is this, right? Defending that thing. So queen takes b4, bishop takes e5, check. Okay. Rook takes, king takes h7, rook h3, king g6. But if you would play this, do you know what happens next? Because this is why you watch these games, this book. Boom, checkmate. Cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here, obviously, right? So now you know why king g6, okay? Rook g3, and now there is king h6, rook f6, queen h5, rook f5, king h6, bishop f4. Well, I think now you know how it ends, right? Obviously after this, checkmate. Now there are other lines that you can check, and here they are in the book. Many of them, in reality there are 4 lines, so it's well covered. But let's see how the game ends, because now we are just a few moves from the end, okay? Okay, if I put everything correctly, we see that this queen b4 was the move to remove this defender. What does black play? Obviously black doesn't take, because otherwise it's finished. It makes rook to c5, or no, sorry, he will play rook 8 c5, he wants probably to continue to keep the rook on b7, right? Yeah. So what do you do if you are white? You play an amazing move. Again, the idea is that you need to remove the defender. So, boom, rook f8, check. If it takes, bishop takes e5, king takes h7, queen take e4, check. Okay, king h6 and rook h3, and white will give him checkmate, right? So he can only play this, but check. King g7, bishop takes e5, check. King takes f8, bishop g7. Obviously you cannot take because queen e8, checkmate. And king g8, and queen takes e7, and the white won. Now at the end of this game there are the lessons from this game. One, look out for sneaky knight moves. It's very easy to overlook an annoying one like Zukertort 10 knight b5 that was removing the bishop pair. Then two, open files should be studied carefully. Sometimes they are the most important feature of a position in this game. However, the open c file was virtually irrelevant. So what black did to put the rooks on the c file was a strategic mistake. 3. A queen sacrifice based on a forced checkmate in 7 move is a pleasing way to end the game. And this ends up Johannes Zukertort against Joseph Blackburn. I will show you more games from this great book. I hope you will enjoy them and it will make you want to see them all. Thank you very much for watching.